Good evening and welcome into Wild's Up TV, where we are back again for another episode of All You Can Eat Warriors. And it's great to have my man Ash back on the tools and spending some time with us, my man. Ash, how you been this week? How's things going in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, brother, all clearing up over here. You know, the flu has been through the household. The missus currently still getting over the flu as well. But, you know, as we're hearing, the flu's flown over not only in my household, it's moved over to Lavon's household. How are you feeling, brother? That's what we're really asking. How are you going?
I'm hanging in there, bro. A little bit tired, a little bit sore. Sore like I played a game of footy. Got an injury? Nah. That's sacrilege right there. I shouldn't never say that. How dare I disrespect our captain and king, Barnett, with my little innocent, measly flu, you know. So, nah, man. My wife had her turn, and now it's my turn, and but we'll get through it, man. We'll get through it. This is the good part. This is the fun stuff we get to do, you know, after a day at work and stuff. So it's all too
100%.
easy, man. 100%. Hey, pick up everyone in the chat, man. It's good to see everyone's in here, man, and coming through. Channel members, our regulars, and faces that we like to see as well. Great to see everyone in here, man. Let's start off, bro. Look, some tough news, but I know everyone's here for all that, and we might as well get on to it straight away. But Barnett out for the season. Our captain, our king, man, we've grown to love and respect. And I don't want it to make it sound like it's the end of the road. It definitely isn't. But it was such a massive, massive injury that it needs to be talked about and the impacts of it. But Ash, what did you make of it when you heard the news, and what did you think of you know what we've lost with Barnett and how kind of how we're starting to move ahead? What do you make of it?
Yeah, sad, bro. Like, we all know, like, as soon as Mitch Barnett put on a Warriors jersey, right? He's become an elite, middle forward or forward in general in his competition, right? And I feel like he was only just starting to really get his proper props that he kind of deserved. Like, I felt like last year he was out and out our best player that we had last year. You know, consistency. There was games without him where we just fell completely off the pace. He won an Origin jersey last year. He won an Australian jersey last year. Coming into this series, he was a certainty to get selected for the New South Wales Blues, which is so mental from a guy from what we saw in the Newcastle Knights, where I feel like a couple of Warriors fans obviously would have looked at that signing of Mitch Barnett and gone, could he be the guy? He obviously proved now he's our captain. He's our spiritual leader in the middle with Fisher Harris. And I think, like, when you look at other sides in the competition, you start to really realize, like, your team kind of emulates its best players, right? And, like, we've got CNK, we got Fisher Harris, we got Mitch Barnett, and what do they all have in common? They're all hard workers, right? And the way we're winning our games this year is all based down to hard work and determination and grit. And I think that's a really sad thing that we do get to lose in Mitch Barnett. But what he's done also with his leadership is allow the ability for all our young juniors and that to step into that role and do a great job, like the Tennis Dallas Smiths, the Lekal Asimas, Dimitri Vaimwangas, they've all just taken a level of, gritty determination, defense intensity, that we love to see. And he's going to be sorely missed, but it's also an opportunity for these kids to be like, hey, Barney, like, everything you're showing me, I'm going to put it to the test and prove, make you happy for how we perform out there. So very sad, very, very sad, but I'm sure that now everyone can see the props. He's well deserving all the props he's getting right now. Blues jerseys, Australian jerseys. I think he hurts more than just the New Zealand Warriors right now.
Just to kind of go back on his history a little bit, I've spoken to someone, a guy I met last week actually on a stream for the Origin watch along. He was a Newcastle fan, and even he was surprised about Barney's turnaround as kind of a hot head, and no one could really have predicted this. Do you think this is an example of actually someone coming to New Zealand with the right attitude, right mindset, getting away from distractions or mates in Aussie, whatever it may be, situations, and saying, look, I've got a clean slate here. I can really prove something to myself and my family, and do you think that's also a positive example of we've had guys come, be mercenaries, get their money and leave, but actually Barney's an example of, like, takes his game to another level, that type of thing?
Yeah, and I feel like there's been it's a more times than not story now in the last 3 years that we're actually getting players that are coming over here for the right reasons. Like, for sure, we've definitely still had the players that have come for their money and end up leaving us with a massive gaping hole. But, I feel like, you can add, Aaron Clark to this list now. Obviously, he's a Kiwi that's, gone to Gold Coast, coming back home, all that sort of stuff. But these sort of guys, it just shows such a great system that we are building right now. Like, I think the Warriors of in the past, when we brought up, the classic name that you bring up is like a Ryan Hoffman type, right? You bring those boys over, and he just didn't hit the same heights as what we expected. A great comment there, like Jackson Ford, like, we brought him from the Dragons.
Yeah.
He was unplayed, unwanted at the Dragons, and we've created him into a very good prop forward at the moment, or a good forward in general as well. So it just shows our system is working in all the right ways. And it also does show on Mitch Barnett's end that he kind of, this is his moment to change the whole view set of Mitch Barnett and change his career. And I think it's the two things have worked coexisted and created the Mitch Barnett we see today, which everyone should be proud of because he's done an amazing job.
Yeah, and shout out to Mackie. Great point, man. For Barnett, Metcalf, Healy to list that has shown Aussie players that there's a real opportunity here. Shout out Egan, massive. Egan's another one who's been here through the crap years too, with Brown and struggled as well. So, I've got to do a massive shout out to the recruitment sector for investing in these guys. And yeah, you're not going to hit everyone perfectly. We know that situations change, but for the majority, a lot of our guys come over and really do a good job.
100%. Even like, looking at like now, Kurt Capewell, he's in really good form for us at the moment. Like, he hasn't put a foot wrong this year for me. Start of the year, it was a little bit like, maybe he's not really stepping into his role that we expected when he first get in. But I think after probably about the third or fourth game, he's taken his game to a whole new level, whether that's just clear up of minor injuries that he's been carrying into games. I'm not too sure, but I have my best mate, Brody, obviously watches a bit of our footy, but watches all the footy around. He's like, bro, this is better Kurt Capewell than the Broncos had, when they had him. Right. So, it's showing that he's stepping up in his levels as well. So again, it just comes from, as you said before, these boys probably saying this is their last sort of opportunity to change their careers in some sort of aspect, and also a very good system that allows them to play their best type of football. And it's just a perfect monster that's creating right now that these boys are playing incredible footy.
And like, I know this is a big thing, but to bring a family over to New Zealand is difficult, especially Australian culture is decent. Oh, not massively, but a little bit different to New Zealand culture as 100%. Well. So for those guys to do that, and you got to shout out the wives too. They commit to this too. Putting their kids through school and stuff. So it's nice when the club get a great couple, a great family. Webby's a great example too. Bring the family over from Aussie, settle in, here for a job, do work professionally, are great on the field and off the field. Especially like you say, Barney finally got his props, man, with Origin, and Kangaroos, because Kangaroos is hard to break into. Like, that's, if you get at the Kangaroos level, that's like you're actually pinnacle of your position, like in terms of levels. So,
and like to show how big of a deficit this injury is to just rugby league in general, right? You got the New Zealand Warriors playing incredible footy. Like, hopefully we recover from this and the boys can step up, and next man up mentality for sure. New South Wales Blues lose a major key piece they had in the last game that, obviously he's not Payne Haas, but he does all the little things that people probably don't fully recognise to start off with, and a lot of clean-up work. He helps Payne Haas become Payne Haas in Origin. And then you look at Australia, if Payne Haas was the pledge for Samoa, and if Tino Fa'asuamaleaui was pledged to Samoa, players like Mitch Barnett step up in that starting front row role, and it's like, it's not Payne Haas, but it does help a tad for Aussie, forward pack, to step up to the level as well, right? So this is what impacts the whole game. It's not just the Warriors in general. So it is sad to see him go down with injury, but knowing Mitch Barnett as a character, just seeing what he's become in the Warriors, he's going to work hard. He's going to come back twice as strong, and he's going to prove to everyone that he'll be back ready to go, and hopefully be pushing us to a final series next year. However the ACL recovery goes.
Yeah, it's and let's get on to just a side topic of that, but what to do moving forward in terms of who replaces him and how do you approach this? Is it, is Barney worth 3 forwards technically, and you get get 3 guys to kind of do his one job, or is there a 1-for-1 like replacement that you get away with to do that role while maintaining everyone else's role? My only fear with losing Barney is the added pressure, and we've seen Webby just being a devil's advocate at times. Not saying he's going to do that, but push the limits on some of the other players to play a little bit longer minutes, stretch them out a bit. But also the counter attack to that is that he has brought a lot of the youth through now, and Dimitrik and Nick and the like are starting to really stretch their legs a little bit and get a few more Ks under them. What do you think the steps are? What is the right move moving forward? And how do we kind of set this up in a way that we can manage this? Because I'm going to just quickly point this out. I don't think we've had an ACL tear, knock on wood, in the last 2 to 3 years that I can think of. And I think most of the injuries have been either long term, 2 to 3 months, but nothing of this term. And maybe Barney's one when he had the neck cramp was maybe the only other long term one out in the forward pack. So it's a big one. It's a long term one. Oh, probably Tohu. Yeah, Tohu was probably But from this point in the season, it's anyway. Ash, what do you make of that?
Yeah, it's I think obviously it's going to be a massive loss, and as you said, he is like very much like 3 different positions you got to kind of cover for, because he's a guy that can cover the edge, can cover that 13 role, and is one of the better prop forwards in the competition right now. So we're going to look for some players that can step up in those areas. And like number one, like Aaron Clark's doing his job in 13. So in that area, I just see the output of Aaron Clark and James Fisher-Harris probably improving a little bit. Fisher-Harris obviously being brought to the club as in that leadership role, and I'm sure he's going to take that to a new level now that his side piece isn't there right now. So I also think that, we got a lot of other options because this squad is so versatile, right? We see the team list today. Kurt Capewell's in the centers, where there's some movements going on there. But, if some boys are able to cover those other positions, you got a chance to push Maratha Niakure into that front row position and have Jackson Ford coming off the bench and have a very similar rotation between those two. Like Jackson Ford's had incredible games for pretty much this whole season. I think this has probably been one of his better, that 2023 season was incredible. This has been just as good in the middle, right? So I think he can cover a lot of the work rate for the middle, right? If we get the rotation right. Maratha Niakure will be a bit more of the punch type of play. And the last one is you got Dimitri Vaimonga and Tanisdale Smith that may get a little bit more extended minutes through this period here, to where those boys can get a good rotation if they were to keep Maratha Niakure, Capewell on the edges, and Leka coming off the bench as more impacts. Those boys can probably do a little bit more of a middle interchange there. So there's a lot of other options we can go with. I prefer more of the Maratha Niakure starting front row with Fisher-Harris, bring Jackson Ford off the bench to play that middle role to the middle of the game with Dimitri Vaimonga. And then we kind of work around that with maybe a Tanisdale Smith or a Laban, however we work that out, and then put those boys back onto the end of the game. So that's the way I prefer us deal with it. It's not Mitch Barnett 100%. We don't have another Mitch Barnett, and I don't think many other teams have another Mitch Barnett in their roster, and our depth is good enough to cover to a point, right? And I think there's not a lot of other sides that have a Jackson Ford that can cover these positions, or a Maratha Niakure that can move from an edge to a middle like this, or these young kids that are coming through that are playing incredible footy at the moment. So we're very, very blessed to have good depth at the moment in certain positions, and this is actually one of those positions that we have a decent amount of depth in. Tom Ale is barely getting a bait in the side at the moment. He's come back off injury. Bunty Afoa is another guy that could definitely fill in a role there too. So we have guys there galore.
Yeah, I'm of the same mindset as you. Build a partnership. It's like a cricket partnership, right? You build a combo that builds, that grows into itself. When I remind me of Fish and Leota, you just add them together, so it's so different to them kind of individually. They've built this kind of mentality, siege mentality, that they both kind of got in people's faces, and they both backed each other. And in a way, Barney and Fish were like that too. So I think you kind of blood in someone or get someone that hits that kind of that spark. I think Maratha could be that guy for sure. I agree 100%. Totally with Ford being in that long minutes role 25 in the first half, and then carry over into that last, towards the 30, 25 in the second half. I think he's a long minutes forward, and you play him like that. So I agree with you. There's options around, which is I think I think it's really managing the rotation. Vaimonga, this is probably a really good opportunity for him to be like a solid rotation guy with
Agreed.
good 30 to 40 minutes. I think he got up to 30 or maybe 35 on the weekend. And you saw him start to open up. Hey, you seen him start to really stretch out. And I think that's
The
where,
offloads, he was done in that
the control.
aspect.
I mean, just he got a little bit hungry. He got a little bit hungry on that one offload. He's just feeling himself a little bit. They're young people.
The rush of blood.
Yeah, rush of blood. Yeah, just excitement. You know how it is. But yeah, I definitely think he could hold down a spot. Which again, like there's massive opportunities for people to carry this through to the next phase. So,
agreed.
A lot to think about. But no, a lot of good chat. People in the chat too. I think you agree. There's no need to go do a panic mid-year buy of anything like that. Nah, we got.
No, the only way to make a move like that is like, and even then, like it probably wouldn't make sense in the long term. But hey, Payne Haas, you're not happy at the Broncos. We know the Warriors were your first team, blah. But nah, we don't need anything like that at the moment. Especially when Mitch Barnett comes back fit and healthy next year, we don't want to have another prop forward to really worry about rotations when we got these young kids stepping up in this level as well. So, as you said before, like Dimitrik's doing some great things in the middle. It's not just his attacking game and he's offloading as well. Like defensively, he's been unreal for us. Like over the weekend, 17 tackles, no miss from memory. Very solid member in the middle and chops blokes. So Tanner is an incredible defender there too. Really good side-to-side movement in the middle. Like these boys can fill a role. As I said before, not Mitch Barnett for sure, but these guys fill enough of a role to end up covering that. And we've got players like James Fisher-Harris and Aaron Clark that can take another level, I believe anyway. We've seen Aaron Clark hit another level and Fisher-Harris for sure. So I'm sure we'll be okay there.
We'll be okay there. And shout out to the bro, Warriors Fan TV. Much love, brother. Hope you've been well, my man. And shout out to everyone at Warriors Fan TV. Doing some really good stuff. Real, Tans. Yeah, man. Big up everyone at Warriors Fan TV.
Let's go.
Okay, man. Now, another injury, and I think this was discovered post-match. I think you saw it, Ash, and I missed it, but Berry seems to be out with a hamstring again. And I think now we put the pieces together that Ali was injured possibly as well. And that's why he didn't play Cup, and maybe Berry got fast-tracked, should we say. Now he's injured, and I think Ali's in the 23-man, so maybe he's a late inclusion, who knows. But what do you make of the situation with Berry now? I mean, we talked about him having multiple injuries, but this seems another little setback. Does he need to stay in Cup, or is in Ali's situation he's a little bit nicked up? Do we go to Catewell more often now than we do previously, or what do you make of the situation?
Yeah, it definitely sucks. Like, from what I've heard with Berry's injury, like from the rumor I heard anyway, this is on the rumor, but I heard it's just minor. So hopefully it's just only a couple of week turnaround and he'll be back. But, obviously Berry's starting to build himself a nice little medical record, which sucks, obviously, for a kid that has a ton of talent and we know the potential that he has. And with Ali, there was a lot of people pointing out in our chats and stuff, with our members chats and stuff, that Ali was dealing with that injury in that game of the Raiders. He got a lot of mid-game attention and stuff like that, or attention on his ankle. So hopefully he is okay. No one actually fully really fleshed out, other than the Warriors, what was Ali's original ankle injury. I saw him in the moon boot for that Cowboys game, after that Cowboys game at Magic Round, which is the one that I think it was the game that he ended up pulling out. So, very, very curious to see if he is ready to go. Because as I said, like, I don't think there's been any confirmation of what type of injury it was. In the latest team list, it said that it was a minor muscle strain that held him out, muscle tightness held him out last week in Cup, because he was meant to play Cup. So very curious to see how that all plays out here. So I do expect seeing him in the 22 jersey. He'll have all the time, all the way up till probably the 24-hour mark or whatever. They'll probably chop it off at that point, get through his fitness test, see how he goes. He'll push Catewell back to the edge and probably fill in that role there. But if not, how comfortable are we starting to see, Kurt Catewell in the center and do a job? Like, he's done a job against some big squads out there. Like, the Dolphins game, he played an amazing, vital role against Herbie Farnworth. Like, I'm sure he can do another job out there again. I know both Shark centers are damaging and can do work, but we've seen Kurt Capewell do it against some of the best centers in the competition. So I'm sure that we can fill in a role for another week if we got to let these boys rest a little bit more, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think I definitely feel as though um, I think just sometimes you can have a string of injuries and that doesn't mean that you might get past that string of injuries and then you might have a great run of 2 or 3 years where you're not injured. It's one of those things where you got to let Barry go for it, I'd say. And obviously cross the T's and dot the I's as much as you can. But if it does happen again, some players do have those vulnerabilities. We know in all sports, a lot of players are susceptible to certain injuries. Hamstrings are always tricky. And who knows, he might need, I just think in time he'll get there. But his performance on Sunday was solid, bro. I couldn't fault him for much at all. He was very, very tight in his movements. He's always very solid in his movements, defensive movements, all those things. So I wish him the best recovery. I just hope it doesn't impact his confidence, but I don't think it has. I think he scored a try. He's still very active. We just hope he recovers well, really.
100%.
Yeah.
And it sucks, bro. Like, as I said before, with a guy of his potential and, it feels like injuries are holding him back, obviously, from reaching that. And maybe this is just a sore point in his career right now. And after recovering from this, we'll get to see the real Rocco Berry when he comes back. And as you said before, he's still playing an amazing footy right now. It's just there is that higher potential that we all know and we know what he can become in the future. So him and Ali are definitely our future. Hopefully they can rest up, and if we can just run through the game with Kurt Capewell and give him more time, we will do so. But at the moment, it's really up to Ali Lautoa and see how he's going.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just quickly here from Sun Young, how credible is the Holic rumor that CHT is out? Have you heard this from Warrior Holic at all, Ash?
No, I was just speaking to him before I jumped on air here, but I totally missed this one. But usually, as we know, when the Warrior Holic kind of has an inkling on something or he's heard something down the traps, it's usually pretty spot on a point. So that might be another one that will wait up until game day, right? We're carrying Tamane Martin on the bench. We got Tanner Boyd in the reserve, so we got boys that can cover there. Even Tane Chuapiki can do a job if we switch a couple of pieces around, put him at fullback, chance at 6. Like, we've done that before. So we can fill in that role. It won't be Chanel, because I think Chanel's had a really good season. He's been a really good foil for Luke Metcalf in the halves. But yeah, as I said before, if Warrior Holic's heard something, a lot of times there's something to that. So yeah.
Okay. Just keep an ear out, guys. If it is interesting though, very interesting, and
keep an eye out.
Yeah, keep an eye out. Tanner Boyd is there, who's had a great game in Cup. He's probably the most high profile. He might be the Andrew Johns of New South Wales Cup.
100%, bro.
He's killing it.
How
bro,
good is it?
Yeah, he's killing it in the Cup, bro. Yeah.
How good. I think the only thing with that, though, is what people are going to understand there is, unfortunately, Tanner is an out-and-out 7. And for me, if you pair him up with Luke Metcalf, you kind of have to play Luke Metcalf back into that 6 role, which could also, development-wise, you want Luke Metcalf to be playing 7 this year and continuing on. So Tamade probably fills in that foil role probably a little bit better. But I agree, there's parts of Tanner's game that could definitely help us, especially goal kicking and in-play kicking. He does a very good job at. So wouldn't be mad to see either one of those guys. But I would say that probably move Tamade Martin to 6, and if there's any problems there, and move like a Sam Healy into that 14 jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. Just quickly, shout out to Gucci. I did see this earlier, and I have heard people talking about Metcalf, and still some are giving him credit, some are still dismissive maybe of him. I think personally he looks like he wants to be here long term, Gucci. But I just want to talk on to the point that, look, I think he's proved himself well, and he's in his first year as the actual starting halfback. He has some great solo moments. He has some great X factor about him, which I think is what we need massively. Mm-hmm. And I just think with the run that we're going on right now, we shouldn't really be. We here at Warriors Up TV, we as Warriors fans know what he's doing for our club. We know that, So, but it's always hard to get recognition from Aussie media typically. And it's just the nature. I don't know why that is, but it's just the nature of it. It is. And maybe for him, he needs a 3-year run. Um, uh, who knows? But yeah, I think it's quite difficult. What do you make of that, Ash?
Yeah, as you touched on, it is very tough for Warriors. The Warriors to really pop up in Australian media. They don't really give a lot of us a due. And, I kind of use that as a positive in some sort of aspect. Like, we've seen teams like the Broncos that have had the spotlight on them for a long period of time of, their team's incredible, right? And like, you see what happens to that aspect where the team starts kind of feeling themselves. They've got an ego to them, and then when that ego gets crushed, they get into positions where they are now, where they're soul searching, trying to find themselves. So we obviously don't want them out there going like Luke Metcalf's the next coming of Andrew Johns, because legit, he's still developing in that 7 jersey, but how could people even discuss that, he's not the 7 for us or anything like that when he's leading the Dally M at the moment before it went closed doors, and probably still is leading after the weekend's game. Probably would have picked up a couple of points there as well. We've had historic starts to our season. I think, we've won, this is the most back-to-back Sydney games we've won since our inception in the competition. We're 9-3. We're sitting like third. Honestly, I can't really even... Yeah, you can't question it. Like, the kid's been amazing. He's been probably one of the most informed players of the season at the moment. And we'll talk to Baldo and obviously the Shark Boys and that. And to grab him to where he is now in playing that 7 jersey, I'm sure they'll be looking at him and being like, hey, we would have loved to have a bit of Lukey Metcalf to pair up with one of their halves as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we will get to that, guys. Actually, guys, 122 of you guys in here across all platforms. Please hit that like and subscribe on YouTube. Can we get it up to minimum 50? We're going to definitely aim for 100 tonight, but 50 straight out the bat would be fantastic. Thank you very, very much. Okay, man, let's get into this Teamlist Tuesday, my man. Man, it just doesn't stop. You have a massive injury like Barnett, and then Teamless Tuesday, everyone get back up, hyped again, and you go through this cycle, bro. The NRL season is absolutely grueling, but we're coming up against a good Sharks team too, man. But let's go through our boys. Chansey at the back. This guy he can't get enough, can he? He's always available when he wants those meters, doesn't he? He wants the 350. He might go for 450. Shark Park, who knows? Then you got Dell's back, Adam Pompey and Capewell at the moment. So you're saying, back to Ali, just quickly on Ali point. You're saying that you think Ali might be a late inclusion if he can be match fit.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep that in mind. But Capewell's there for now. Roger there on the left wing. Chanel and Luke Metcalf. We'll see what the Warriorholics CHT news, if that does come to fruition. We'll have to wait and see. Fisher Harris, Egan, and Jackson Ford. So they went the Jackson Ford route. We can maybe talk about that soon. And maybe, again, smoke and mirrors with Webby. Sometimes these things change, of course. Lecker to starting back row. Marata is the right back row. And then Aaron Clark, obviously. Tamite is still there. and he doesn't get a break, Tamite. He's always never good enough, or he's in the wrong position. I know people will be crying for Healy, but it is what it is. Webby's gone for Tamite. Laban's there now. So he comes in. Dimitri and Tennisdale Smith. That's a bit of youth right there. That's 3 bits of youth. And you're adding Liquor 4 there, which is great to see, but it does sort of start to put a bit of highlighting on depth. But let's start with Jackson Ford, man. What do you make of? Do you think he's going to stay the starter there as a prop, or do you think actually what we believe is like he's better as a off the bench type guy?
Yeah, I'm kind of looking at Jacko as being off the bench type of guy. Again, this is all due to, I think, if Ali was to come in and Capewell would move to the edge, I think Marata will start up front in the middle and Jackson Ford will come off the bench. We've seen that happen before with late inclusions there. If it runs the way it's supposed to run right now, I believe we're keeping Marata on the edge and we'll have a Jackson Ford probably start the game. And they'll probably do an interchange of Dimitri Vaimonga and Tennisdale Smith with those boys up front. So it's really game dependent on Ali Leotar coming in and moving some things around, because I think our preferred would be Marata to start and Jackson Ford off the bench. But yeah, if it's a run out the way it is right now, I think we'd probably have to start Jackson Ford to start the game, unless we want to run a Tennisdale Smith early on, get the brunt of the contest, and then bring out Jacko in the mid game. So I think that's probably the way we're going to look at it. More likely, Maratsini could move to the middle and those moving pieces moving around.
Yeah, Jackson Ford's that linchpin because again, the model's kind of changed now. Remember, you had Dylan Walker come on being that first guy, and it was so ball playing eccentric, but defensive as well. Like credit to Dylan, he was ball playing lock, but he was that defensive linchpin too, kind of what Ford is doing. Now we're kind of doing it slightly different, where Ford is a massive kind of cog in our defense and securing and making sure we're solid. And then Tamati comes in on that back end and tries to provide a bit of option there in a different way. But it's very still, it's a different model. And I think you're bang on that we need to keep Ford on that bench just to because that first wave, you never quite know. Like, yes, you may be dominant, you might start off hot. Then, in fact, Jackson comes on and he kind of stabilizes that. Then, if you're down by 2 tries early, you need someone to stop the bleeding, and Jackson's that as well. So it's so important that he kind of stays in that role for me. And I agree with you, Murata. I would hopefully push him into the front row, and then if Capewell can drop back down to the right side with Liquor, I think that'd be, or even Capewell, sorry, to the left. When Capewell's been playing back row, has he been playing left back row or right back row? He's been all over the shop, isn't he?
Yeah. Okay, so
push
left.
Push Liquor over to the right, how he was with Metcalf and how he scored that try. So and then keep Capewell over that side. So that would be great. That'd be great in my opinion. Okay.
Yeah, we just got a really good versatility within our squad that we got Lecker that can play on both sides. So he can kind of fill in wherever it needs to be there. Obviously Capewell can play on the left. We've seen him play on the right as well. He could really pop up anywhere he needs to. Jacob Laban probably has the ability to play on both sides as well as we've seen in Cup. So I think that either way, we've got opportunities to move this team around and still looking fairly strong. But yeah, and on that too, I'll just shout out Jacko for his season. I said at the start of the video with the Mitch Barnett segment and that, but last weekend, he busted out 151 run meters, and it's only because, Chance busted out about 340 that people aren't really talking about it. But off the bench, last week he ran for 200 of the best as well, and so this guy is busting out world type numbers. It's just because his name's Jackson Ford and comes off the bench sometimes. People aren't really giving him the full credit as due, but he deserves it, man. He's been incredible for us this season.
Yeah, he's been huge, man. Especially, he's been definitely huge for us. Okay, man. Just go to talk a little bit about Egan and how that ties in with the philosophy for Healy to be. I know that everyone's still very strong. Healy. And Webby's saying TMM. Do you think Egan is at a point where we need to bring a Healy in, that he needs a bit of rotation, or what do you make of that?
I think that this whole situation is predicated on the injuries that we're having at the moment and the player that can fill in multiple different roles in those positions. So obviously we know Sam Healy can fill in that hooker role and have that really nice hooker rotation with Wade Egan. But other than that, he can play that 13 role, just not his preferred role in general. With Tamati Martin, we're noticing our injuries becoming an outside backs, right? We've seen week in, week out, we've had Kurt Capewell in the centres a couple of times this season. Adam Bompe's been the guy that's bounced around, helped out on the wing, been helped out in the centres. There's a running narrative here now that we have Ali and Barry constantly being injured and even happening mid-game, right? So what Tamati Martin opens up the option for, if there's any other injuries that can really impact the game, Chance can go to a centre role if he really needs to. Tamati can go to fullback. We could even run, if there's an injury in the wing, Chance can go to centre, Tamati can go to fullback, opens up that sort of role. You got Shannara Stavita that can push to a centre, he can play a 6. He opens up that many more ways to fix up a lineup than a Sam Healy, right? If, let's say, we come out this weekend, Kurt Capewell goes down, how are we going to run another player in that centre position, other than maybe Lek Alasima, and he can play that position as well. But you're probably going to have a bit more of a higher class role of CNK pushing to a centre position and Tamati Martin playing at fullback than having Lecker play at centre and keeping CNK at fullback with Tamati Martin, on the bench. So that's the reason why I think that Webby's gone down this route. If Webby had a full strength side of Barry, Ali Leatoa, and everyone was looking good, there was no minor injuries they're running in the game with, I guess, because we're judging off of Barry probably coming in last week, maybe still a little bit underdone. Then would probably look at maybe a Sam Healy coming off the bench because we wouldn't be worried about those mid-game injuries or any rotations in that sort of area to fill in our back line. Healy can be our rotation for Wade Egan. So I think that's the reason why Webby's going down that road instead of just a whole of like, just snubbing Sam Healy. I don't think it's ever to snub Sam Healy. He's still getting his proper minutes in Cup and developing so well. I think it's more because Tamani Martin can just be the Mr. Fix-It in many different roles and offer us so much more versatility in our area right now, especially with injuries mid-game.
Do you think if Tanner plays, that it's just quickly, Laban and Vaimaunga have kind of, when a player gets in a team and you notice him to start off with because he's new and you try to figure him out, a guy that you haven't seen come through development, you might not be aware of them. Laban and Vaimaunga are starting to get into that place where you kind of starting to know them. They're starting to become a little bit regular. Tanner, for a lot of people, just saw him that Dolphins game. Do you think he can build a resume of actually being a legit guy, or is he kind of that tweener that's going to come in and out? And how do you think he'll go if he does play on Saturday?
If you asked me this last season, Tanner Smith, watching him at Cup, I would have said he would have been a tweener at the moment. But after what I've seen from him this season at Cup, like he's had probably one of his better Cup seasons this season. He's come off the off season so much fitter, ready to go. He's really fighting for his role. He's got the potential. He's got, a very high upside for a very good, solid NRL prop forward, right? So I think right now, as I'm sitting with him, I think he can be that guy that can play, for a decent chunk of period off of the bench and become a proper first grader, as we know. But as I said, like if you asked me that last year, I probably would have said, at the moment, still a tweener. He's still kind of growing into his role as a professional footballer. But now I think he's actually hit the nail on the head. He's become out of the offseason, fit, ready to go. He impacted the game against the Dolphins really, really well. And I'm sure he can do that consistently week in, week out. Because when he goes back to Cup, he looks worlds above the competition out there. So I'm sure he'll do a great job and can hold down a first grade spot for a little while if he can.
Just quickly on Tom Ali, I know he's always been in the mix, and he's kind of now dropped behind a Tanner Smith. Does he look like if we get some, say we have some injuries as well, it looks like Bunty's dropped out. He must have got injured on the weekend or something, or maybe he's just out of the picture. But yeah, do you think Tom Ali has a shout as well now with the loss of a Barnett to get in there and fight for a position?
Yeah, there's a possibility for sure. Like we've seen Tom Ali be a versatile piece as well in Cup. Like he's played on the edge for a little period there and done a great job there as well. I just think that with the injuries that he's sustained and a couple of key things in his game that he still kind of needs to fix up on in areas. We've pointed this out on Wise Up TV a couple of times. I think Tanner and Dimitrik and these other boys have stepped up above him on the pecking order due to that. But very, very, I'd be very, very happy to even see Tom Ali be around the squad as well. Like he can still do a great job. It's not to say that he's not doing a great enough job because he's in a Cup. Like our Cup team at the moment is stacked full of superstars right now. Like we can't, this is the depth that we have right now in certain positions, right? It's not across the whole squad. Like still center wing and stuff, we still have a little lack in depth there, right? But every other part of our Cup side is incredible at the moment. Like leading the competition by far. When you have Tanner Boyd and that playing Cup right now, it looks a little bit unfair to the rest of the competition. It's very similar with our front rowers. Like when a full strength Warrior side we have out there, we have Bunty Afoa and Tom Ale probably starting up front, Tanner Smith starting there. These guys are top-notch players. So it's not to say he's mud or anything like that, but I just think that Tanner and that's just jumped him in the pecking order right now due to injuries and a couple of things they've actually nailed in their game that Tom Ale is still kind of working on.
Yeah, man. No, very nice. Okay, man. Look, we're gonna leave that there for now. We've got a lot to talk about still, guys. Yes, hit that like and subscribe, as we always say. And much love to big up to everyone in the chat. Look, man, we're gonna welcome on a guy that is a Sharks fan, a hardcore Sharks fan, and he is the host and creator of the ET Stand podcast. We're gonna bring him on right now. He's gonna try and sway us. I swear, he's gonna try and convince us in the combined 17. He's going to try and figure out a way to get 17 Sharks guys to be in that combined 17. I don't know how he's going to do it, but he's going to try and find a way to do it. So we're going to welcome in my man, Baldo.
G'day, fellas.
My friend. How you doing?
Oh, it's just so refreshing to listen to such a one-eyed podcast. That's so clearly, it's like you just sit here and you'd swear that you're your second grade team would win the NRL premiership if they were in it. You've got backup backs and halves and like Sam Healy and all this sort of stuff. And I'm just going to say this to you, that all of your good players throughout your history are really all Sharks legends. Vanilla Blake, Sean Johnson, Kurt Capewell, Luke Metcalf. Like, how many good Sharks players do you need?
We love dealing with you guys. We love it. We love it.
All my remark to that, mate, is how is your Newtown Jets going in New South Wales Cup? I just want to ask you that. Like, are we competing? Are you competing with us at the moment? Where are you kind of sitting? I know you beat us early on in the year.
Yeah, but your guys have been in good form and we've dropped off a little bit. So, look, you want to talk about the second grade, you can, but we're all here to talk about the first grade. And I'll just say, Levon, I'll say this to you, Levon, is that if we do a combined Sharks Warriors team, it will be the most triple-barreled named team with Nicole Klokstad, Martini Zalesniak, Hamlin Ueli, Vanilla Blake, Fisher Harris.
Harris.
How many triple barrel names do double barrel names?
What about KL?
How many of these do we want to have? So now I'm just going to say, I got my hat here. Hold on.
Here we go. Oh, good man.
Now I got a really big head, so I look like an idiot with hats, but I'm going to rock it just because. Yeah, look how much of a buff head I look like in a hat. So I'll do this for your show, Levon. But shout out to can I just say that the friendship of rugby league that we've garnered between you two legends and also our channel is, certainly like we can carry on as, like Sharks versus Warriors and, some of the other teams have certainly got a bit of hatred towards each other, but nothing but love for you boys.
We can't hate the Sharkies, bro.
No. Oh, wow. We didn't love you in the last 30 seconds of the match last season, but it's certainly typically, a lot of love for you guys. So, certainly welcoming the Warriors fans out to Shark Park on Saturday afternoon, which is a good time for you guys to watch. So it'll be a close match, but I was thinking we were no chance until I started listening to you guys, and then with Barnett and shit, you swear that like it's against all odds, really. So
it always is, bro. It always is. Refs will be up against us, everything. But Baldo, let me get into this. I want to get into this real quick. But I firstly just want to shout out. Southside Snipers, man, with the $20, man. You don't have to, brother, but we appreciate this. We really do appreciate that, man. We love to you, brother. One of our awesome first grade members. We really do appreciate that. And Radiant as well. Just very, very kind people, man. They must be wanting us to really get over the line against the Sharks here. So we appreciate you guys. No, we love you guys, man. We really do. Baldo, man, let's start here. Let's start right here. How are you finding AFB? Is he as hyped up as we made him to be when he was playing for us? Is it the same kind of vibe for you guys?
Well, he's playing a little bit of a different role to us that he did for you guys. I was looking back at the number of minutes that he played for you guys. And the last match that he played for you against us, he played 61 minutes. So he's playing fewer minutes is the first thing. We do a player rankings on the ET stand, and I'll give you a spoiler alert. Vanilla Blake is top of my Sharks player rankings now, and I'm actually not putting anyone in second because I just don't think anyone's getting close to him at the minute. And so again, I've got this new term which I'm calling the Fanua effect, which is the other forwards are actually not catching up to where he is. So I hope that they can do that. And I heard you guys mentioning Barnett and a few of the other ones and how the rest of your players are lifting towards that. I'm not seeing that from the Sharkies guys. Now, it could be that we're missing a few injured players, but he's just so big. And so he's played the ball speed, given his size, the extra meters that he makes. He is just incredibly difficult to deal with. And Sharkies love a crash play try. And so,
fuck yeah.
so therefore, Vanilla Blake's tries, I don't know what number he's on. He's on a 4 or something like that. He's certainly very popular. So look, he's out and out our best player at the moment now, Levon. Out and out.
Baldo is like we had that little bit of experience where our forwards depended so much on AFB. They looked up to him. He was a god to them in many ways. How I saw it. Is it that kind of same symptom there at the Sharks, or is it just that guys aren't stepping up and he's just, as he has done previously, even with us, he just carried the load? You know what I mean?
I think it's a bit of both. The Sharks, with signing Vanilla Blake, have dropped a little bit of depth. So we essentially dropped Jack Williams and Royce Hunt and someone else who escapes me from last season. So you don't have that rotational depth that you can bring in those just fresh guys. They've still got a pretty big amount of the salary cap sitting on Hamlin Ueli, who hasn't kicked on. And I saw in one of your comments that your guys have said, you dodged a bullet by not signing him. And I'd probably say you're right on that front. And then also missing Rudolph. So if you have Rudolph firing on all cylinders with Fanua Blake, at the moment, Oregon Kafusi is holding the second prop position. And I don't think you guys are exactly shaking in your boots at Kafusi running at your lot. So, yeah, he's just an absolute out-and-out star for Fanua Blake. However, the right-hand side of the Sharkies might give you a little bit of a worry with the likes of Katoa, Rami, and Nickera and Hines running it. I think Capewell's going to be on that side listening to you guys. So I think that might be more of a worry for you guys. You want to talk about that?
Look, I want to keep heading down the ex-Warrior route. You know what I mean?
All right, let's do that. We can also.
This was my big question. Oh, sorry, go. What were you going to say?
Oh no, I'll answer this question. Can I preface this question with a question? As it on player for player, we're paying them the same amount, and so I am the Perth Bears, and I'm choosing which player to sign, or on a new contract, or am I taking them on an existing contract, or is it the same amount of money? Because my answer to that question is that dollar for dollar for what you're paying Metcalf compared to what we're paying Hines, the answer is clearly Metcalf.
Yeah.
So the value that you're deriving from him. And so the analogy that I draw for the NFL fans out there, basically Nico Hines is Dak Prescott. B+ player getting paid A+ money. And so you just can't win the NRL if you've got a B+ player on A+ money. You just can't do it. And so sadly, Nico, and we've got a really good, I did a video on the top halfbacks of all time. And Nico Hines is just the 6th best halfback in the NRL. 5th, 6th best halfback, which makes him like an epically good rugby league player. Right?
Yeah.
Like,
100%.
People say, is Nico down on confidence? I'm like, mate, the guy's paid 1.2 million Australian dollars a year. He's the most handsome player in the NRL. He's on every single billboard. He's the halfback for the Sharks, and he lives at Cronulla, and he's the next captain. Like, that guy, and he's also incredibly nice and does an incredible amount of charity work. So I just think he's the best looking there is. So I don't think he's probably struggling. But I don't know if that's insulting to Hines, is it? I just think it's a bit honest.
Oh, yeah, it's honesty. I think it's a bit honest.
Oh, no, I think that's in reference to the Dak Prescott reference.
When you said Dak Prescott, I knew straight away. When you said Dak Prescott, it made it way worse.
I think it's Dak. Well, Dak Prescott's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a great regular season quarterback, eh?
A great regulars can win a Daily M. Great regular season quarterback. I reckon that analogy is pretty right. So look, we had a show last week where we talked about players from our SG ball team 10 years ago. And I swear my co-host Franco just wanted to talk about how we were dumb for letting Metcalf go for freaking 50 minutes of a damn episode of our pod. So
was Metcalf though? Was he purely just because of his injuries, or was he not rated at Sharks?
There's a bit of injuries. We had Moylan and we had Johnson and we had Trindle in the off, which he just couldn't quite crack it in. And then, the Warriors were land of opportunity for him. And so he got to go across to play for you guys and got some first grade time and good luck to him. But from our perspective of our show, Franco called it. He said Metcalf was a gun. He was rabbiting on about it. And he's not the type of guy to say, I told you so. But he tells me so all the time that he said Metcalf was good. Well, I told you. So we're certainly missing him. He was very popular with the Sharkies hardcore fans who knew him as well. So,
yeah. All right. No, cool.
Oh, yeah. So, Russ, if you were there at the hotel during Magic Round, you might have seen me carrying on like a buffhead, running around. So there was the funny moment where we pretended that there was only 3 Warriors fans in the lineup.
At Vegas.
In Vegas. I've ever seen that,
right? So we only pretended. So and then we're like, look how long the Sharks fan queue is. And then within 5 minutes, the Waz Up TV had posted a photo of someone had tagged him in a thing and called us out for lying. It was very funny, but a good stitch up. So
I love it.
Yeah, look, you should definitely get my co-host in the off-season, Chris, to come on and tell his story of how the New Zealand Warriors players saved his life in Las Vegas. It's a good one.
Oh yeah, that sounds interesting. Yeah, that
one's
like
good.
Amazing.
It's a good off-season story, that one. So,
Baldo, I want to hit you, and I know you. It's great to. It'll be good to hear it from you because I want your outsider view of the Warriors this year. Like, I know us as fans, we get emotional about it. We think our team's gonna make the grand final. I'm even calculating ways of this happening. What is your
Book
view
your
of the
tickets
Warriors?
now, leave on.
Yeah. I know.
I tell you what,
We
you
never
can
won
have
this
my
many games at the start of a season before, so it must mean something. You know what I mean?
it's a long
what do you
season, mate.
I know. That's what I want to get you. I want to get your view. What is your view from outsiders looking at it? Is this a good team? Is it a team that has potential, or is it a team that's overachieving? What's your view of the Warriors?
I think it's a weaker NRL at the moment, just generally. But I'm not saying that the Warriors are second because it's necessarily a weaker NRL. But I think that presents you with a pretty unique opportunity. So you'd have to think the Panthers are certainly off it at the moment. And so then when you look at, the Raiders and I'm not quaking in my boots if the Sharks have to play the Raiders in the finals. You guys, I don't love the idea of playing you guys, but then the rest of the teams, Storm are good, right?
Yeah.
Like the Storm are a gun team. I think the Bulldogs are going to fall off because they're not going to have the big forwards in the playoffs. And so what's going to happen is they're going to get run over the top of by a Warriors or a Sharks or a Storm. Like the Panthers guys were too big for us last season in the finals. And the big fit guys at the end just nab them. And so I think the Bulldogs are overperforming. So I don't rate the Bulldogs at all. I think the Raiders are a mess. The Sharkies, I don't think are good enough to make it either. So you could argue that the Warriors puts them alongside the Storm. And then depending how the draw goes, I just think the Storm are going to be incredibly difficult to beat. So from that wider competitions perspective, that's where I think it's sitting. In terms of the Warriors, God, I saw them play in Las Vegas and I thought, geez, this is going to be a long season for your lot. I was outrageously worried. And then, just the form of your guys, you just seem to be turning up each week. And then I was watching the match and your watch along. And I just thought I never thought you were going to lose. And I know you guys were worried and you're putting the fire things and the emojis and the watch along was absolutely hilarious. But I just thought the second that South's got close, you'll just find an extra gear because you've got a couple of quality players. I really rate Egan. Yeah. I really think he's really good. And last season we beat you in round one. We're going to lose. And he got injured. And then we won. And that's really So I just think, but back to Jacko here saying, worried for us. Well, I'm worried because your star forward's just gotten injured. So in terms of carrying that form, that's not going. I was also worried round one, but I ain't worried now. Yeah, you guys are one of the top teams. And you've got Metcalf. And so, to win these NRL premierships, you need a couple of things to happen. And one of them is you just need your young guys just to suddenly come good. So you need like two or three just young players like Jack Bird and Valentine Holmes to just suddenly become like elite level NRL players that you just didn't see coming. And you've got one of those in Metcalf. So, and I think Egan's another one. And then you got quality forwards and then goodness me, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck's on the wing for your team. That's how good your team is. Like you can't be doing that bad. So, quality team. I don't think the Sharks will beat you. I think we're going to lose Saturday.
Come on, Baldo.
We didn't want that.
I think the Warriors are going to win. And the reason why is I think the reason why is the Sharks have named, so we'll just spend some time talking on the Sharks bench. Absolutely. So the Sharks have named Daniel Atkinson as number 14. And him being on the interchange bench for the Sharks fans just tearing their hair out because he plays 8 minutes. And so it's really handy if you have an interchange back injury, outside back injury. But really it's pretty hopeless for us. And he can't cover for Blake Brayley. He's not big enough to play lock, and Cam McInnes can play the minutes. And so we end up having a guy playing 8 minutes, and we'd be a hell of a lot more useful if we had that number 19, Tuku Hautapua. I don't know how familiar you guys are with him, but he's like a big unit. And so him playing for 12 minutes would be enormously helpful. So I just think the Sharks bench is not quite right. And then we've got a few coming back. So Ronaldo Mulatalo is one of our better guys. He's out. Hiroti on the wing has been he's like severely injured, and so he's had the niggle. So last week they just bombed him. So if you've got Metcalf with his pinpoint little short kicks over the chips going on to Marween Hiroti, that's going to cause us all sorts of problems. But, we've got all the good New Zealand players in our team, so maybe we can beat you.
We share players, brother. We share players. That's the whole thing,
Bro, you guys were watching the Origin watch along last week. Baldo is a pure clubman because he goes.
I am a pure clubman.
He supports the Kiwis because he's got what's it called, Mulatalo, Nikora, and
Fanua Blake. So if New Zealand plays Australia, out and out support New Zealand.
No, I was going to ask you this because I was thinking because technically Fanua Blake's Tonga, and you've got Sione Katoa. So if Nikora gets injured and we've only got Mulatalo,
then I'm going for Tonga.
You go for Tonga? Yeah.
I'm going for Tonga versus New Zealand.
Oh man, I love it.
Oh yeah, I just love the Sharks, and so I'd make no apologies for loving the Sharks.
You should never.
Make absolutely no apologies, and we'll be there on the ET stands. Are there any Warriors fans that are watching this and they do see us? Say good day and give me a slap over the back of the head.
There'll be a few out there. Yeah, I know a few in the chat there. We'll probably head down. So definitely go say hi to Baldo, guys. There in the ET stand. Ash, you got anything that you wanted to? Well, actually, just Ash, what's your thoughts on the Sharks? I know you watch a lot more NRL across the board than me. What do you make of how the Sharks are going, from your view?
Yeah, I think lately they're starting to click, finding themselves a little bit more than what they did. You've had a little bit of up and down moments to start the season. I think. There was that little period where you struggled to find wins in very tough games. That Tigers game was a one that was for all honesty, I thought you were coming home with the victory there, and everything was just not going your way. You weren't really finding that little extra give to just get over the top of the Tigers in that contest. There was a lot of games like that you had to go up against, and then I think the Newcastle Knights performance kind of changed you guys in a way. You started to be like, we're dominant in areas, right? We need to play off I know that's the thing, but it gave you a little bit of confidence to go on a little bit more of a run to where now you're sort of napping on the heels of the 4 right now in 5th position, right? In a competition, as you said before, that a lot of teams are very up and down this year, whether it is because there's a softer competition due to other things or maybe more of a competitive competition where a lot of other sides are pipping off a lot of the bigger sides because the bigger sides have come back more so to the pack, right? The Broncos are dealing with all their issues. Everyone had them in their top 4 to start the season. Manly been up.
But they got injuries, Ash. So just on the Broncos.
Mate, everyone's got excuses,
They're missing Reece Walsh and Ben Hunt. They're their 2 best guys. Come on.
That's what I mean. So, for the year that it is, and you guys are getting it back into form in that sort of sense, you guys have doing a very good job to start to round out your season. This is a great period for you guys to pick up victories during the Origin period, where I don't think you have too many bad Origin bye round type of footy where you're going to miss a lot of players during this period. So, I think that you're a dangerous team. You're close to full strength, as of course you got no Ronaldo Mulatalo and that out, right? I agree with you on the point of Daniel Atkinson. I think that if you carrying a man like that on your bench, when you got Sifa Talakai that can do pretty much all that as well, right? Sifa can play centre. Sifa can play in those other positions that can move boys around, and that's what kind of just I feel like. It's waiting for a time for Fitzgibbon to kind of figure things out and just put the right pieces in the right puzzle, and you guys are going to be a threat by the end of the season. So again, I think you guys are completely fine. I think you guys are in the right positions that you need to be. This period, Origin period, is where you're going to pick up a lot of good victories because you have got a stronger side than a lot of sides you're coming up against that have Origin depleted. So I think you guys are in a good position. I really do. The only thing I would add to this though, do you know the percentage of, we've had 4 games we played you with Andrew Webster as coach versus Craig Fitzgibbon. How many games have you won against the Warriors in that period?
Including preseason.
1 out of 4, right?
And that is 1 out of 4, yeah. So
1 out of 4. I was looking at the match. We won the one where Wade Egan got injured.
Started last year.
Yeah, we won the one. So I'll just respond to you on that, Ash. I think the difference
right. Yeah, first round.
One thing with the Sharks this season I've noticed, so they were able to get up against the Melbourne Storm and they played brilliantly well, and it was one of the, maybe top 20 great wins at Shark Park. And then they go up against the Roosters and then they just don't aim up. I think the Sharks are convinced that they're going to make the top 8 and are a little bit complacent and are actually saving themselves a little bit. We'll be there at the end, and then they'll be aiming to give it a shake and actually try and accelerate towards the finals. So one concern I have for the Bulldogs, the Raiders, and the Warriors, I just think one of those teams is probably going to drop off just because that's just the way that it goes, and it's difficult to keep that momentum going. Like, oh, goodness me, the Sharks have been so many times. The Sharks have been first at State of Origin, especially in those early 2000s. And then we ended up not even making the playoffs. So it is possible. But yeah, we're certainly saving it for that. And I'll just respond to the other comment where it says that I'm just your guys just hammering me, because that's what happens when I come. It's a little bit further up, whereas our Baldo's covering his bases so that he can come in here and say that, oh yeah, if we win, he said, I told you so, but at the Shark, he says, yes. Jacko, I am the voice of reason in all NRL podcasting, and especially on the ET Stand podcast. We ran a tipping comp where you had to tip just the Sharks wins. And apart from the guy who tipped Sharks to win every single week, I came first. So I am the voice of reason, and I will put my hand up. And
trust him, Jacko. Trust him. No, very much.
Trust me. I just think but I don't like the idea of Mitch Barnett being injured for you guys. So that's not encouraging. So look, it'll be close. You'll beat us at the end again. We'll be up by 12, and then you'll win by bloody 2 points with scoring 3 tries in the last 8 minutes. That's what's going to happen.
Luke Metcalf.
He certainly won't be winning by kicking goals.
Can I ask you this though? You guys have made a prelim, right? Have you made a prelim?
Yes.
In the last year. Is the next step? Obviously, the next step is grand final. But do you think that they can do that this year?
At the start of the season, I thought so, and I put it actually to us that I think we can make a prelim and be competitive and be a chance of winning the prelim. The match against the Panthers, we didn't really look in it. There's a brilliant try by, I think it was Cato that got us back to within 4 points. But just that class difference, there was a moment where Cleary just pulled off this brilliant pass. It was line ball and the Panthers score. Hines in a similar position has to throw it forward. And so we just don't quite have that same quality. I think if the Sharks play anyone but the Storm in a prelim, I think we can win. I can't see us beating the Storm.
Just on Hines, do you think he's just that kind of freezes in them? What have you observed of him, like his player attributes? I mean, he can do a lot of things on the field, but do you think he shrinks in the big moments?
He doesn't shrink in the big moments. Just in the bigger games, he doesn't have as much space and as much time. And so it's difficult to be Nico Hines when you've got teams that have got Mitch Barnett and James Fisher-Harris running at you. And so you're a bit more knackered and, you're just playing against forwards that are quality. So, when we played against the Panthers, they ran at him a little bit. He doesn't have as much time. Their line speed's better, like all the usual stuff. I don't think he necessarily shrinks. It's just more difficult for him to perform. And he's the 4th or 5th best halfback. So, he's not Nathan Cleary or the real best player in the NRL, Jerome Luai.
Yeah. Baldo was absolutely livid with Luai not making the.
Goodness me, that was just rubbish. But like Nico, here's the difference between Nico and Metcalf. Metcalf will miss from in front, but somehow always kicks it from the damn sideline. And when you're down by 2 and you need him to kick it, he'll get it, but he just frequently misses all the time. Whereas Nico actually had a sideline conversion for us last year and didn't get it, which would have been a big moment for him leading into the Origin. And that extra 2 points would have helped. But, Nico, it's the question I get asked the most.
Yeah.
Like I'm catching a plane back from New York to Sydney and some random person I'm wearing a Sharks thing. It's like, what do you think of Nico?
Yeah, he comes up.
I just get asked about Nico like all the time. It's like, But, what can I say?
Anyway, let's keep trapping. We've got to get into this combined 17. So let me bring this up right now, and let's get into this. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this goes. Okay, here we are, people. I'll just take that off.
I love when we do the combined team. This is so good.
Hey,
okay.
Mitch Barnett's out, bro. You're lucky.
Mitch Barnett. You and I both know that you weren't thinking of Fisher-Harris and Mitch Barnett over for Noah Blake. So we'll go from fullback. Let's go.
No, wait. Because how this is written out, I have to go left wing first. So it was weird. Anyway, let's start left wing. Who's your left winger?
Sione Katoa.
Is Sione Katoa.
Katoa versus RTS. Now I'll be adjudicator and I'll follow the chat as well.
Hold on. You're clearly not going to be biased. Why is Roger Tuivasa-Sheck not good enough to be a fullback?
Good
Because
question.
we got
Great
CNK,
question.
baby.
Because he's not.
CNK.
Because he's not any good. Because he's not any good anymore, and that's why.
Oh.
That's why is better. Can we just pick two wingers? Because Katoa is our best winger. So there's no way
we can probably work with that actually.
And there's no way you're not picking Katoa.
Well,
what do you say?
DWZ?
Yeah.
Is Dallin better than Tuivasa-Sheck?
Not
No.
right now. Not right now.
No.
Nah.
But I'd both have him over Sione Katoa.
Whoa.
Katoa's like our best guy.
Nah.
The Sharks wingers are our strength. But look.
I knew that would get you, mate. I knew that would get you.
We're going to give Katoa.
Katoa trucks it up.
Dallin
the way
hasn't.
Katoa trucks it up.
Dallin hasn't quite.
Not this year. And then again, Katoa's been injured this year as well. So,
well, Katoa's hasn't played a match.
He hasn't played a game.
Hasn't played a game.
I'll give you that. I'll give you Katoa.
We'll give
and
Katoa,
then
absolutely.
And Roger Tuivasa-Sheck on our side, yeah?
Yeah,
All right, fair enough.
Let's do that. We'll punch
Sounds
in
good.
Roger. Punch in Roger here. That's fair. I think that's fair. Okay.
That's so good. All right,
Okay,
so
now-
punching in Roger. Punching in Roger.
Let's go fullback. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Kennedy versus Chance.
What does the Daily M table tell you, fellas?
I don't know. What does it say? Has it got Kennedy?
It's got Kennedy second behind one player that you're going to try and argue with me in a minute.
Kennedy's behind Chance, or Kennedy's above Chance.
Kennedy's above everyone except for Metcalf.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nah. Is it Kennedy is it work rate? What is he? Is he a work rate type fullback?
He's skill. So he's just enormous.
He's a bit of
skillfulness.
everything.
He's a bit of everything.
He probably creates more than CNK.
Yeah, he's a creative player,
offensively.
and he's just had these moves where he jinks around dudes and sets up Ronaldo. He has been in electric form for the first 10 weeks of the comp. He was the best player. So
this one's really tough. Like it is 50-50 because I think playmaking wise, Will Kennedy is the fullback out of the two, and I do think he's like criminally underrated by even just Sharkies fans in general. I think that he's not too bad of a player. Like he's pretty good. So, but CNK work rate wise is just like he trumps him in that area as well. So. I'm going to lean towards your boy there, Bras, because as you said, Daily M performances of the year, he is up there in that table. CNK, last couple of weeks has staked his claim for people to be like, hey, can we stop this fullback argument? But overall, I think Will Kennedy's had a great year, so let's go there.
Yeah, I'll give Kennedy, bro. I respect the guy that can do a bit of everything, and I
100%.
actually think just Chance hasn't been involved in the attack from a structural thing, just not really clicking. Whereas
a lot of the Sharks attack runs through Kennedy.
Runs through Kennedy, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of it does.
I'll give him that.
A lot of it
Okay,
does.
then we went Katoa on the right wing. Okay, let's get Katoa.
And then we see Katoa.
How many
get him
Katoas?
in
How many
there.
Katoas we got in the comp? Like, probably
Too many.
15. Yeah. Okay, let's go centers now. Okay,
Oh,
so
well,
we'll go.
So Kurt Capewell has no chance of getting picked.
Wait. Let me say the name. Wait. So what? Ash, is Pompey on the right? Are we suggesting Pompey's on the right with Dallin?
Bumpy would be on the left, and Cable will
Cable's
be
on
on
the
the right. Yeah.
Okay. So let's start left center. Who's your guys' left center?
We've
Kale
got
Iro.
Kale Iro.
Yeah, he's on a tear, isn't he? You can't really.
He's on a tear, Kale Iro.
Can't stop
He's
scoring.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
He can't stop scoring. He's pretty good.
We love Pompey.
So
We
you're
love
missing
Pompey here.
you're missing a centre or two, aren't you? Because surely Kurt
Yeah,
Capewell's not
we
your
are.
normal.
Yeah.
Surely.
No,
we-
he's definitely not.
we-
No,
we-
we're
we-
missing
we
Barry
love-
and Ali.
Yeah, so I think it's the first choice Shark centres against your backups. So it can't
can you tell me
possibly
quickly
not
what
be
what was the story about KL Iro to KL? What was that story again? Why did he go with the KL?
I think it's an abbreviation of his family name, and he just decided he was Superman. No, it's a joke. I just think it was a family choice, and he decided that was what he's going to run with.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. To each
I
their
just
own.
think
It's
it's
like Prince. When Prince changes
It's
his
just like
name
Prince.
to an image.
I heard a rumor or
Is it-
something that was about pronunciation as well, because people weren't like pronouncing his name.
Yeah, they
properly,
weren't
so
pronouncing
just
his
did that.
name right. Yeah, that was a bit.
I
of a
heard
too.
that as well, but like, yeah, could be
KL.
many different things.
KL. Iro.
So because he's
I
the
like
son of what Kevin Iro, the legend
Kevin,
New
yeah.
Zealand player.
Yeah, Kevin was
Yeah.
legend. Yeah. Okay, let's go now to right center, and you have
Ramian.
Ramian.
the old Ramian versus Capewell. How's Ramian been going?
Ramian's a little maligned.
Ramian's come on, Capewell.
But he's pretty good.
There was a pause there. There was a pause.
No, I know he's better than Capewell. So Capewell's rubbish. So Capewell's a really good.
Oh my goodness, man!
Capewell can make the. Capewell is a very good interchange back rower who can play center, but he's going to be up against Talakai for that position, so that's going to be tough to get.
So with
through.
that, I think that Baldo has skipped over the Dolphins game where he shut down Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah, man, he shut down Herbie clean and proper.
I'll have to show you some highlights before the game.
So what? He makes 4 tackles and then suddenly he's a world beat. All right, sure, okay, cool. Mate, I just don't think you could put Kurt Capewell. It's not even his preferred position in the centre over Jesse Ramian.
I'll be honest. I'll go Jesse Ramian as a centre.
You got to go Ramian.
But respect on Capewell's name, Baldo.
Yeah,
don't get me wrong. We love Capewell. Like, come on.
Ex-Shark player, all that.
Yeah, man. Show some love. Show some love to Capewell.
We love Capewell. Capewell played brilliantly for us in the 2016 first week of the finals.
See, Baldo, I'm looking at this team right now and how it's trending. There's no way you're going to lose, brother.
Yeah, what's going on here?
This is not a sign of how good the Warriors or Sharks are. This is more a sign. No, this is more a sign of how nice you guys are as just accommodating good blokes, inviting me onto your show and making me feel better. Now, look.
Listen here, Baldo. I would have chose Dallin Martinez-Lesniak and Cianke at fullback. But, we're accommodating you.
Oh, so there's no way. Well, all right. Well, here's the next question. Are you going to let us pick Nico and let Metcalf in the halves, or are you going to say it has to be 5'8" and a half back?
So are you saying Metcalf's at the top of the Dally M's?
I would say Metcalf's better than Hines.
So then, if I'm going Metcalf versus Hines, So Metcalf.
Yeah. So if you're gonna go Metcalf versus Hines, Metcalf's better.
You're gonna give me Metcalf, okay?
Yes, but if you're picking the best halves, I pick Metcalf and Hines.
What do you say, Ash?
I can run with that. Because I was going to make a strong argument Chanel over Braden Trindle.
I'd probably agree. I'd agree with that.
But
so I think you've got two. I think out of those best halves, out of those, you've got 1 and 3. Is what you've got.
Agreed
on current form. You got 1.
Yeah, number 1 best looking Luke Metcalf.
Look, he's not even the best looking guy in his own team.
I know we got a gorgeous team, don't we?
No. Look, if you were picking the combined team, you'd have Nico at halfback and Metcalf at 5'8" or vice versa. So,
yeah. I love that, to be honest.
Well, it'd be a pretty good team.
Look, that's pretty fair. I got no issue with it. I know people saying in the chat CNK. Nah, I'll give it Kennedy, bro. Katoa, I don't mind that. He hasn't played. Probably give it to Dallin, but hey, we're being nice here.
We've had nice guys.
Let's go now to the middles. Mm-hmm. We're gonna go prop, lock, then prop. But let's go best 2 props. Let's go best 2 props.
All right, so I'm going to let Ash argue for why Fanua Blake should not be in this team.
If Mitch Barnett was here, I'll have a strong argument. But
you would not have a chance. So it's clearly Fanua Blake and Fisher Harris, right? That's just
100%. Yeah,
100%. That is
all
unbackable. So we don't need to discuss those two really. How is Fisher Harris going?
Yeah, we love him. We love him.
No, he's
just solid. We rate his we always as Warriors fans, or us at least, saw him that he wasn't a like-for-like replacement. Totally different style. AFB's way more attacking, athletic, that type of thing. But we appreciate Mitch's, Fisher's stuff. But also Clark is kind of accommodated for us too in that space. So it's kind of that type of thing. Okay, let's do that.
On the lock,
warm your hands up for this one.
I don't think you're going to have to because.
Wait. I need to go lock. To make this line. So I'm going Fish. I'm going AFB. Let's go McInnes versus Clark.
Mm-hmm.
So as the Sharks fans' greatest critic of Cameron McInnes, I don't need to argue. I don't rate McInnes, actually.
Don't make
He,
okay.
no,
He's
the
your
problem with
captain.
McInnes, yeah, Nico should be the captain.
Best looking.
But the problem with McInnes is he's not quite big enough. He's got good play the ball speed at times. I don't love his decision making as a captain. I think we're paying him a few too many bucks for what we're getting, and I'm just not sure McInnes is. I'd be having Talakai on the field instead of McInnes at lock, or trying to find a way to. Just don't think we get the power of it. So, yeah, I'd get a bit two-faced if I try and argue with you about Cam McInnes. So tell me about Aaron Clark and why. Like, if it was Paul Gallen, would Aaron Clark beat Paul Gallen at lock? No.
What I would add to that, Baldo, though, the one thing I did want to say, do you think there would ever come a point this season that maybe Atkinson drops off for the 14, McInnes goes to 14 because he can cover hooker or that lock position, and you bring up Hohepu Piru, that's been playing unbelievable in Cup in that 13 jersey?
No, I don't think you put Hohepa Peru at 13. If you're going to do that, I think it's Talakai at 13.
Yeah.
So Talakai, I just don't see how the Sharks are getting enough value out of Talakai at the minute. And so
I would try to squeeze him in.
I would squeeze him in as one of your best 13 players, and his hands are just so good, and he's just so powerful and difficult to deal with. And when he comes on, the Sharks are noticeably better. So I think the Sharks should be running with the advantage of Talakai on the bench is that he can cover the outside back positions. So, or if you start with him, you then take him off, and then he can come on and cover an outside back position in the second half if he needs to. So the Sharks, I think we should be running with 4 big forwards with Hazelton, Rudolph, Hamlin, Ueli, and Talakai off the bench, and just have the biggest bench ever. And just be really difficult to deal with is what I think we should be running. And Cam McInnes has proven as well that he can. We had the matches where we were running with just one half, and we had Cam McInnes and Brayley kind of filling in with Dan Atkinson. So that's what I'd be running with. But clearly, there's some reason they think they have to play Dan Atkinson, but they've also had a lot of injuries. So I think they just haven't rated Hohepa Peru enough to warrant putting him in. But maybe they would. So anyway, Aaron Clark, lock. Congratulations.
Unbelievable. Okay. Great year for Aaron Clark. We will be talking the hills, if we continue going on with that. So we're going Aaron Clark. We're sticking with it.
Yeah.
Shout out. Bye the season.
Let's go hooker. This is a good battle here. Okay, Blake Brayley versus Wade Egan. Go.
So Wade Egan's pretty good. But Brayley hasn't missed a match for a very long time.
Oh, come on. We're going to use the longevity argument.
So Brayley plays 80 minutes. So it depends on the shape of our team, lads. So are we running with a hooker on the bench, or are we running with an 80-minute hooker?
Oh, okay.
So what's our strategy of our team here?
Egan can play 80 as well, but
you can play 80 as well.
Not like Blake Brayley can play 80. Not like Blake Brayley can play 80. Has Wade Egan played every minute this season?
No, he hasn't.
No, he hasn't.
Hey, Baldo,
we're not talking about minutes, Brayley? Man. Let's stop.
It's about the strategy. We're trying to build a team that can win. We're trying to build a team that can win.
I'll give you this, Baldo. It's a close sort of argument here, because I think defensively Blake Brayley is unbelievable. But if you want the attacking prowess of a Wade Egan, deception in dummy half, you want a guy to control and get these boys around. You're worried about Nico. You're worried about Luke Metcalf. They can direct. You got Wade Egan who can just direct these boys in the right positions. I think you would love Wade Egan right now, and having that deadly duo of Wade Egan and Blake Brayley, you would love him.
We wouldn't, because Blake Brayley plays 80 minutes.
I'm looking at some stats here. Brayley's defensive work is very solid. Very
unbelievable.
He is very solid. When Brayley runs and the forward pack's getting a move on, he's very difficult to deal with because he's just so nippy out of dummy half. It can be. Look, I don't know. It's tough because you guys lost last season in round 1 to us because Wade Egan got injured.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that's the reason why you lost.
Okay.
I don't think. Look, if I'm candid, if I'm coming up with 17, that's going to be an NRL Premiership winning team. I'm running with both of them because I just would. So
we'll go with Egan for now. And but
I think we're going to end up putting Brayley on the bench then, aren't we? Or can you not play one of the?
We might do something like that. But
Oh,
Okay,
let's see how we go.
Let's go to the back row now. Left-sided back row. Who you
Would
guys got?
be
You got
Teague Wilton.
Teague
for the
Wilton's on the
Sharkies.
left, and yeah, because Nick.
If we're going off our team list right now, Levon, it'd be Leka Alasima.
Alasima versus Wilton. Wilton's pretty solid though, eh?
Wilton's former
very
Australian
good.
schoolboys captain. He's
What?
and he displaced Wade Graham, so he's a pretty handy back rower. So he's pretty good, Teague Wilton.
I'll give it to him on
Experience.
I'll give it to him on experience for sure.
Yeah, no, you're picking Teague Wilton, but the problem is that you guys know that the next second rower is definitely Nick.
On potential, I would have Leka Alasima above Teague Wilton though. On potential, for sure, and you'll see it.
Okay, let's give it to Teague. That's fair enough. But no, is Teague performing well this year? Is he doing well?
He's been injured for a couple of weeks. He's been injured for a couple of weeks, so that's one of the things about the Sharkies.
But has he been when he plays? He's solid.
Yeah, we've dropped off the last couple of weeks. He's a solid player, Levon.
Okay, well, we'll give it to Teague. That's fair. We're not gonna.
I think he's solid. Beautiful line runner. Does his job out there. You know. But you're gonna fall in love. Hey, Baldo, watch Leka Alasima this weekend. You'll fall in love. You'll fall in love.
Actually, he'll be up against Wilton. That'll be a great little matchup. That'll be a good one.
I guess we're going to find out. Now, obviously, the other one, there's no way you guys are going to argue against Nickera, who is the best second rower line runner in the game, and he's a New Zealander. There's no way that you're not picking
This was the guy that I would have wanted as a premier type guy to come.
100%.
Absolutely,
he is good.
Out of everyone that I could want, he would have been my guy for sure. Absolutely, no complaints there for me.
Yeah.
And how's he been going this year? Pretty solid still.
Yeah, he gets tries all the time. His line running
the line is insane, isn't it? It's one of the best lines.
He's very difficult to deal with. So just looking at this team and how we've gone and picked these, the Sharkies have got more in this team because of a bit of reputation, really, haven't they? So they're just underrated, the Warriors. And so if you make that assessment, like even for your guys as the Wise Up TV podcast, is they just don't get the accolades and applause that they perhaps should do. But a deep semi-final run, and when we're playing you guys next year, it might be a little bit harder for me to argue about some of these players. But
no, I respect it, man. I actually, this kind of, I know on paper probably it's looking as though you guys should have a really good team to do well. Like honestly, I'm jumping the gun here, but I could see if this gets tight, we might just not have the legs. That's how I see it. And
you might also run out of gas because you've been in Sydney for so long and traveling so much.
Well, it could be that too. Yeah,
I'm
just seeing that little.
No,
just being devil's advocate, but I could see AFB going over late or something like that. Or Nicholas.
No, you guys always go in late. It's going to be bloody.
Come on.
It's going to be Kurt bloody Capewell is who it's going to be. I think the bench thinks it's
going to go over. Yeah.
I think the bench is obvious. I think clearly, if you're running with the strategy of the hooker, then it's Blake Brayley, Talakai as the outside back, and your best two forwards is what it is. It's just clearly obvious.
I can't go wrong with that, actually. What do you say?
If you're not running Brayley.
We'll run Brayley at the first one on the bench, and then we'll have a discussion. Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a chat. Okay. So
you're not going to pick Talakai, Ash.
No, I'll pick Talakai.
Oh, and then I'm prepared to kick Talakai. Then I'm conceding the other two because our bench is rubbish. I'm not picking Kafusi or Cam McInnes. I can tell you.
Oh, so I would probably concede there. Yeah, so we'll go Jacob Laban and Dimitri Vaimonga to finish off that bench.
Well, surely you'd put. Yeah. Hold on, you'd put Lecker on the bench, wouldn't you?
We try to keep it. We try to keep it as much.
Okay. Well, in that case, in that case, I'm just picking Talakai, and it's your three bench guys. If we can't,
that sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds
because our bench sucks. Daniel Atkinson.
You don't rate. Yeah, so you don't rate Atkinson.
I rate him as a 5'8". He's great, but as a 14, he's not any good. Colhoun,
bit of a toiler at the moment.
A bit of a toiler. He's been a bit injured. And Hamlin Urelli's always been injured, but he did do the rock that time when he scored a try. So
Yeah,
for
that's
in terms of
pretty
Oh, I hated
in
it.
terms of
Was that
entertaining,
23? Was it 22? Sorry, 22.
That was
it's
22. That was
earlier than
COVID
that.
year.
Disgusting.
Yeah,
That was when we were very poor.
So
that's
then,
so
Ash,
good.
we would go with Laban, Baimonga, and Smith, Tanistao? Or would you have Tamati on there just to cover? Because we went easy on us,
because
Yeah,
no, we're not. We're playing an 80. We picked Egan because he can play 80 minutes. If you're not,
Just in
if you
case.
need a backup hooker, then put Brayley in.
Wait.
I'm happy to concede that. I'm happy to concede the Brayley shout. We'll put Brayley in there, yeah, and then we'll put Vaimonga and Laban. I reckon we'll run with that because it looks like a strong bench in that sort of sense. And Baldo, Wade Egan's the better hooker, but we got to concede.
I just got you then, didn't I? Because you're
You
like,
got us again, this guy. That's what it said, you guys. This guy
up.
will find a way. Look, he's got 8 already in there. He's got 9. He's almost got everyone. And we're top 2. We're a top 3 team. I don't get it.
Yeah, but you look. All right, May premiers.
No.
All right, cool. Let's book. All right,
We're
book
gonna
the
give it to
grand
you.
final tickets now. Do you
We're
want me to?
gonna-
I'll
we're gonna
Airbnb my.
We're gonna
I'll
give it to you.
Airbnb my house for you, Levon, so you can come and stay here when the grand finals on.
I'd love to. Are you in the Shire? I'd love to go down to the Shire.
Goodness
It'd be
me.
beautiful.
Oh, you
out there.
moved. No, you're not in the Shire anymore?
So we're switching out Egan for Brayley because you wanted to pick Tamare Martin on the bench because Egan can't play 80 minutes.
No, wait. There we go. We'll leave it there.
No,
Okay,
Eric,
so
who's on
Wait. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. To what? So that'd be 10 versus 7. Okay.
10 versus
So
7.
based on that, you guys should go pretty well. There's no way, Baldo, that you're picking a loss at home. You just can't. With this team here, you can't.
You can't do this.
You Sharks. When I'm not picking
No,
a win.
don't do the
Warriors are going to win.
Ours.
No, the Warriors are going to win.
way.
Your team's better.
There's no
I'll put my
way.
hands
There's
up.
no-
Could add Chance, could add Dallin, could add Lecker, and this whole thing would have changed.
Well,
Just because we've got better. Here's another one for you at 18th person.
Okay.
Which coach? Because I'd pick your coach.
Webby.
You're going Webby.
Yeah.
We'll go Webby.
I'd go your coach.
Absolutely.
I'd go your coach.
I love Fitzgibbon though. I rate Fitzgibbon, but I think
Fitzgibbon can
Webby's
be
done
the
a lot more
defensive
with.
coach.
Yeah, I like
Fitzgibbon
that.
can be the defensive coach on our
Incredible.
on the other side of the ball. But no, Webby just seems to get a bit more attacking out of your lot. The Sharks don't have the moves that we used to have under John Morris. So they're not as skillful out wide. So
Okay. And
Anyway.
Jazz is saying, where are you sitting on the ET stand? Is that right?
lower ET stand, Jazz, behind the Sharks bench.
And Jazz, make sure you're there at the end of the game. Just you know.
You'll see me.
Yeah,
we do a. Yeah, no, of course. It's all good fun.
It's all good fun, people.
It's probably a more
get it.
important, looking at it from the ladder perspective. I think it's
Yeah.
probably a more important match for the Sharks than the Warriors because we're trying to keep touch with the top 4. And if we lose, we'll get dragged into the also ran teams. So we need to keep touch with you guys. It's actually the top 3 teams do better, not the top 4. Statistically, there you go. I have some random takes from time to time, Levon. So if you go look at the numbers, the performance of the top 3, statistically, they win the premiership. It's not the 4th. The 4th team doesn't do any well because what happens is the 4th team has to play first, loses, and then has to play the best of the second, third team. It's not a good spot. Whereas if you're third, then you actually, if you win, you get to play against the 4th team. So that's why the second, third, 1, 2, 3 spots are so important. So it's the top 3. So if the Warriors, goodness me, just imagine Jacko. No,
Does he?
He
You
doesn't.
don't think he improves anyone? He doesn't. Is he not a
who's gotten
development
better
coach?
under the Sharks
Oh, good call.
since John Morris?
Morris is the guy, bro. I rated Morris actually.
Morris was good.
Morris
was
rated
good.
him.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, but Brayley's come on a little bit.
Yeah, Brayley's
And Braden Trindle's gotten pretty good. But it's not like we've had Valentine Holmes-esque player that's just come from the
Come through. Yeah.
just come
Not
through
since
and just
Metcalf,
been,
probably.
Well, he didn't identify Metcalf, did he? He let Metcalf go.
No, I'm kidding.
Would it be the last question? Last question. Would it be the Warrior Sharks or the Shark Warriors if it was a combined team?
Well, it'd be the Shark Warriors, wouldn't it? No.
Shark Warriors.
Warrior Sharks.
Warrior Sharks. Warrior
Warrior
Sharks.
Sharks.
Okay,
I think the
yeah,
Warrior
Warrior Sharks.
Yeah,
Warrior
Warrior
Mighty
Sharks.
Ducks. Sounds like something
Mighty
like that.
Ducks.
Sounds like a hockey
Mighty
team.
Ducks.
Okay,
That's pretty good.
hold on. Let's move this on. Great, there you guys go.
Great to see you, fellas. So I'll see Lee Bonds come on our show.
Wait. Stop. You're not going anywhere.
Oh, I
thought
I was going.
I got to get you out. I'm just moving on. Everyone, that was a combined 17. Okay, now we're going to get into score prediction. I know you've already kind of done your thing, but now that you've seen your team, you won 10-7. Does that change what you think about the score? What the score is going to be on the weekend?
No, Warriors by 4. I think the Warriors will get it. So I just think the Sharks are just emotionally fragile at the minute. We're still missing a couple of guys, and despite us being better on paper, I think your coach and Metcalf will do us because Metcalf's the top player in the NRL now.
Wow. Okay. You heard it there. You heard it there, guys.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Now, this is the man that said he predicted Sharks will smash Roosters 40+, and that flipped. So I think he's trying to do some.
No, I did at the last minute also say the Sharks can easily lose.
Okay.
So it's just all bravado.
But he has got a bit of reverse psychology. So if
it's just all bravado. No, you guys are such a good team. Like, here's the thing: you're 4 points ahead of us on the table. Well, you're a freaking quality team. So
Thanks, Baldo.
I just think just because you've got a team of champions doesn't mean they can beat a champion team. And I think your team's a team. I just think you're, like, to your point of the Mitch Barnett togetherness and all that sort of stuff. Like, I watch your podcast. I listen to you for 30 minutes. I think you got me convinced.
There you have it, guys. Thank you, Baldo, for
coming. It'll be a good close game.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. It'll be a good game. It's always a
I agree.
Guys,
last point. Last point.
Okay.
Can I just say, we'll all agree on this, that Sean Johnson is now the best commentator in the NRL.
Yo.
Oh, yeah. He's unreal.
Oh,
yeah.
So good. How good is he? He's
Better
out
than
and out. How much were your guys hating on Blocker during the watch-along?
Oh, yeah.
It's so disgusting.
Toilet Inspector. How good was he hanging out with Blocker? Love Toilet Inspector. How good's that guy?
No, I agreed.
Yeah, he's absolutely worse. But hey, guys,
Pleasure,
shout out to
guys.
Baldo for coming on, man. He comes on with the heat. He brings it straight. He shoots all over the shop. Whoever it is, Catewell. The things he said about Catewell is absolutely sacrilege. Absolute sacrilege. But we're going to have
in a questionable video or something.
Anyway, go and subscribe now to ET Stand Podcast. These guys have just cracked 1K, man. Absolute massive achievement for them. They do awesome stuff over there. I'm going to be jumping on over there later on, in probably an hour's time. Come see me.
And we're doing a combined watch along, Levon, aren't we? Are we doing that?
Yeah. Yes. I need to
we'll
talk
get
to you about
Lats
that.
to join. We'll maybe get Lats to join you guys for. I don't know if you want to have.
Latino heat,
stuff.
man. We got to get that.
Trying to get Latino heat. But yeah, Ash, good to see you. Levon, we'll see you in an hour.
Good to see you, Bala.
Ash, good haircut, mate. Your hair was shit on the weekend.
Oh, don't do that. Hey, Arsenal.
Oh, bro, Baldo's got a good set of hair, man. Far out.
Man, I can't go bald if I'm bald, though.
I need to go turkey hairlines. hairlines, to be honest. I ain't going to lie.
Sounds good. Turkey. All right, fellas. All the best Warriors fans. We'll see you on the weekend. Any Warriors fans at the game, come and say good day. The Warriors are a lot of Sharks fans' second team. So much love to you guys. And hopefully we'll see you in the grand final so we can avenge that 2002, which I'm not going to listen to you talking about it because I'm getting out of here. All right. See you, legends.
Best of luck.
My man.
See you later.
See ya. There you guys have it, man. Baldo, bro. He brings the heat every time, that guy. He's absolutely awesome, man. Mate. Far out. You got to come down a little bit from that energy, right, Baldo?
It was probably that Catewell chat was just
that
God,
was crazy, man. You should have kicked them off for that one, but we love it. We love banter. We love a good bit of banter, and he can talk that fella. He can really talk it. He's good people. But show some love to them at the ET stand, bro. They do their thing over there. We respect them. We show love. Everyone that's doing creative content, man. It's all about us. We're a rugby league family at the end of the day. And but man, let's definitely hope for Look, he's predicting edge. He's predicting a loss for them. Do you
Crazy.
agree with him? I got a little slight feeling like, man, we are so close. Like, all these games are real tight for us. I just feel one more road trip away before the bye. Can we squeeze out some more juice, out of the berry already, or is it, what do you make of it? What's your heart telling you, bro?
Yeah, I think this game can go a couple of different ways. Like, I really do. I think the Sharkies coming off a bye, usually when teams reset off a bye, they come into the game, they can do some real good work on the team they're going up against. We've been on road trip lately. We're doing very well on the road too, which is really, really good to see. But, it's no, like, you can see it out there. The boys are working really, really hard. So there is the opportunity there for us to drop off a little bit. But if I'm going off of what I believe in our side this year and how tough and how resilient we've been this year, I think we can get one more before the bye. So I'm going to sway the way of my boys in this one. I reckon the boys can come out and compete with some of the best of them. And as I said, the Sharkies coming off of a loss against the Roosters, I'm sure they want to make a statement in this one. So it's going to be a tough one, especially at home. It's a wet track. This is how it all works out. But I think we can get it done. I think it's going to be a decent scoring game as well. The Sharkies can score with the best of them. They're averaging 24 points per game or around about that mark. We're averaging 20.9 points per game, but in our last 5 games, we're actually scoring up at 21.4 points per game. Defensively, we're around about the 20.5 points per game overall, which is 4th, which is unreal. And the last 5 games, we actually brought it down to about 19.6, which is actually around the 2nd or 3rd best defense in the competition. So I think we can get us done around the 24 to 20 mark. I'm probably leaning towards the 26 to 20 mark. I feel like it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to have moments where we're going to be high. There's going to be some moments where we're going to have to defend on the back foot. But I think we can get this done. So, shout out to our boys. I reckon the Warriors can get it done 1-12 in a very close game.
Are you how they score those points? Do you think we start with an early barrage and we die off and then we survive through a second half defensive effort, or do we score points in the second half? How do you see kind of the where the points at what time do we get the points? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there'll be a really early arm wrestle in this game. I think that both teams will not want to give up a back foot step. We're going up against Adam Fanor-Blake, who obviously is coming up against our boys, right? He's going to want to take it to the contest. So I feel like there's going to be a really heavy arm wrestle to start off early in this game. And it's basically whoever flinches first. So I think that the boys can get started on it. I think it's going to be a little bit tit for tat early. And I think mainly we can come home late with the points in this game. The Roosters were able to do that against the Sharkies fairly effectively. But I just think the Sharkies will be up against us in this contest, right? I think they'll be up for it, especially coming off of a bye. So I think the points will come late, but it's going to be around that 1-12 sort of margin. So that's where I'm feeling.
I think we're looking for that. Even that Tigers game before the bye was intense. I don't think we're going to get away again from another intense game. I don't think the defense is able to pile a ton of points on us. But you got to give credit for Hines and Trindle. They can execute. Like Sharks, for me personally, Sharks attack is always usually a lot more consistent. You could say against teams like where we played a tight one against the Dragons, they had nothing in the halves to deal with us. Same for the Bunnies. Latrell had to do a solo mission to try and get them over the line. So if you're coming up against 2 decent halves, you do have to sway a little bit to them that if you give them too much ball, they will find the right pass. Mm-hmm. But I do give our boys a lot of credit too. And look, this team's proving everyone wrong. And they got resilience. They can take you into the deep waters. This team's like one of those Navy SEAL type training teams. They take you into the deep waters, and I agree with the sentiment that we actually looked solid in that game. Mate, remember when you were doing the watch along? It was like, no, we actually had broken them down, the Rabbitohs. Yeah, it was just Latrell on a tear. You can't take that away from him. But
no,
if we can break them down, and the boys are patient enough to do that, they've shown that we might get one late. I think, yeah.
I think a good cheeky little anytime try scorer, because I think it's going to be one in the middle. I think it really is going to be one of those games where it's just going to be a forward pack bash up between, Fisher Harris and those boys. They're going to want to take it to each other. But I think a cheeky one, if the team list stays the way it is and Martin Corday is going to sit on that right edge that overs line that they usually shoot out on like halves that sometimes deal with defensive lapses or just size of halves. Braden Trindle will be on that defensive side there. I think if we get a good one-on-one battle there with him and Teague Wilton and kind of get him off case, I think money-wise, guys, also gamer responsible if you want to go that way. But I think Martin Kode, if it does run out the way it's supposed to right now, I think he would be really good for an anytime try scorer on that overs line of Wade Egan.
That overs line, you reckon? Yeah.
Yeah, overs line straight directly on Braden Trindle. I think him versus Trindle, I reckon he can crash over in those sort of aspects too. So I think that's probably the best way it's going to get done. You know, Shark Park is always known for being a wet track in any sort of way. Even if it doesn't rain for some reason, it's just dewy out there. So I'm sure it's going to be one for the middle, and we just need to grit down and get it done before the bye, and the boys can get a good rest.
Yeah. Just quickly on the Metcalf thing. I know it's been a massive talking point on the kicking.
Yep.
Have you isolated Ash to that he's just not good on the right side? Can you, or is it just what? Because he's actually nailing some of the mean as kicks from the real sidelines. You know, what do you think it is? Those little tricky ones. He's like they're kind of sitters, but they're not. What is it? Do you think?
Notoriously, I think a right-footed kicker. When they're on the opposite side, when they can get when he can get on the opposite side, I feel like his technique improves because he can feel like he can swing through the ball fairly well. I feel like when he goes on the opposite side, he overcompensates. So he has like a little stabbing motion, or he tries to his technique changes in a way. I've had chats with multiple other people to say there's other parts of his technique and goal kicking that's still improving over time. So I love his confidence that he's willing to take it and he's willing to step up and do it. I think that when it comes down to like little nitty gritty things, I think when he's on the opposite side, you know, the preferred side for a right footed kicker, when you have that in swinging kick, it's a lot easier to hit those nails. And when he has that from the opposite side, we see Scotty Drinkwater deal with the same thing as well. Scotty Drinkwater's notorious for this because he's got a nice in swinging kick. Valentine Holmes has it in his games as well. Jermaine Asako is a key one for that. Jermaine on the right hand side, like notoriously misses some horrible kicks. But on the opposite side, he hits the most beautiful conversions I've ever seen. So I think it is a little bit of a combination of a right-footed kicker. Technically, he does need to key in on some things. But one thing about Luke Metcalf, when we see it this season, he's willing to learn and grow in his game, and he's confident enough to be like, "Hey, I need to get better in this aspect." So I'm sure he will get better over time.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I know people are concerned about it. It's one of those things. I think you just need to kick through it. You need to just consistently kick through it. And even if it's Halligan or whoever he's working with, just continue to build that consistency. Will I think eventually get there. So that's all I can say as well. Add to the piece. We just got to compensate. Compensate, Thurston.
Compensate. Ball falls off the tee, puts it back on. The other side.
You got on the compensate.
That was Adam Dewey. Yeah, that was Dewey. I'm pretty sure that was Adam Dewey. Yeah. That was unreal. Shout out to the fans, bro.
You love rugby league fans, bro. Some of the best in the world, bro.
100%.
Look, man, let's just go now. Cup. Jersey flag. Great to see. I think the Cup boys, like I said, Tanner Boyd is the Andrew Johns of that division. Ami Tuanai as well was quite good as well, man. Fantastic. Some really good performances in that Cup game. What did you make of that result? And looked very, very professional by the end of it.
Yeah, New South Wales Cup just keeps on turning on, And like when we drop back a guy like Tane Tuapiki into that Cup side, like defensively, he's putting all the boys in the right places. Like this is the whole aspect. I know a lot of people always calling out there for Dallin to be dropped and all this sort of stuff, which I don't agree with. I think Dallin is the better winger as per se, right? Because Tane Tuapiki is a fullback, and dropping him back to Cup, he's able to continue to develop as a fullback. Doing in first grade from the wing position, you're taking away from him learning parts of the game is as a fullback overall. So him going back to Cup, doing this stuff, it just makes him better and better over time. In a very competitive Cup team that we have, he's really showing out there. You know, Tane Tuapiki's playing off the back of Tanner Boyd. Tanner Boyd's opening up so many opportunities. Luke Hanson stepping up is absolutely killing it down there as well. You know, shout out to all the boys out there like Dion, Amini Tuanai. Just absolutely crazy. The steps he's made in this game. Defensively, he's rock solid on that edge. Pulls off a shot left, right, and center. the last guy I continue to wax lyrical about because I'm really enjoying his game at the moment is obviously Fatai Lofa. Fatia Lofa.
Yeah,
Bro, bro,
Very
unbelievable. So, very, very good performance. You know, the Rabbits aren't a crash hot New South Wales Cup team, but, 24-0 dominance across the park. And I think all the boys step up in those areas.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Jersey flag. Did we lose in the end? I can't remember. I know we pipped them at the end, eh?
Mm-hmm.
That was a nice little comeback at the end there from the boys. Who are your standouts from that group? And good stuff to see that last try go over the line. That was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, unbelievable. TJ stepping up into Jersey flag coaching to end the season, and the boys have got a hard edge now. So that's all credit on TJ as well. As a coach, he's teaching the system the right way. The boys have got a hard edge to them now, and they don't give up in a contest. And I think this is exactly what Webby's instilling from the top, and it's filtering down through the coaching. And I think TJ is such a good coach to put those into those boys down there. Kahu Kappa had an incredible game out there. We've been waiting for this for Kahu. Got put in the wing in this contest. He's been absolutely killing it. Potoko out there as well in the center position. Beautiful footwork. Good. Yeah, he's unreal, bro. I really, really loving his game. Shout out to Jet Cleary as well. He's just, continuing to just develop, slowly but surely. He's adding pieces to his game. Brendan Norris, that's been playing center. I'm pretty sure he's a Brisbane kid that's come over to the Warriors. He's been unbelievable as well for that flex side. Bro, honestly, very, very, I'm loving the turnaround from these boys ever since TJ's taken over. He's given them a little bit of they've grown an extra leg. I honestly, I'm so happy to see it. So now after that win, we are in the top 8 for Jersey flag this year, which is great to see. Yeah. And then if we get another win this weekend coming, we can move into the top 7 and continue to move up the ladder. And, after what the season started like, that is a major improvement, and it shows that our systems are working from the top down.
Shit, man! Shout out to TJ, bro. What a way to build your career, and let's hope that TJ. I hope that he can develop into one of those a coach at some level. Maybe even, maybe he might translate to NRLW head coach at some point. Like the stepping stones that you could find, like that coaches like that level as they make their way up the chain. They can eventually get there. I hope he continues because the way he's motivating these boys and getting them in line, you can just see the shape, the way they're playing. The flag guys are a lot more sharper than what they were. You can tell he's made a big impact for sure, and that's cool to see.
A lot of it's come from a lot of really good injections from some key members of our SG Ball side this year that had a lot of potential, like Kahu Kappa. We've seen the potential in this kid. I think he's been played on an edge for moments for flag. He's been played in many different positions. Same in SG Ball. But when he's in his preferred positions, I prefer him in the center, but pushing out to a wing, he's still got the ability to play that at a high click as well. He's showing his athleticism. All the key parts in his game was the reason why we brought him over from the Roosters, and he's definitely a kid to continue to watch out for the future. Definitely. But we got a lot of these kids too, man, that can definitely fill in a spot if they need to, if they jump up into New South Wales Cup, like Brendan Norris and Potoko as other kids I'm really keen on. And they've got a good little future ahead of them. So very good win, and hopefully they can continue on this uptrend in Jersey flag, because if they continue to do so, we're in good stead for this season there.
Yeah, man. Just quickly, I want to take this last question from Mackie, and then we'll wrap up the show. Do you think Boyd taking his sorry, 1 second. Do you think Boyd taking up his 2026 option with us is a sign that he will sign with the Perth Bears on November 1? I can see him as a starting halfback for the Bears. Interesting. That's a good question, Mackie. What do you make of that, Ash?
Yeah, highly possible. I think that probably looking at halves that are sort of on the market in a way for the Perth Bears, proper number 7s, and the way we're developing Tanner Boyd, he probably would definitely catch the eye of the Perth Bears to get him back over to Australia. It's definitely a big trip for him as well. If New Zealand was a big trip for him and his family, a different culture, Perth is a longer trip from wherever he's grown up from as well, which I'm pretty sure is around that Gold Coast region. So it is going to be a big sea change for him if he goes back on the opposite side of Australia. It's a big change there, but for sure he can do a great job for Perth Bears. He's showing ability down there in Cup. But shout out to, you know, everyone was obviously worried that, and at the end of the day, we may end up losing Tanner Boyd. But it's showing that he's actually enjoying his footy. He's enjoying his development under Andrew Webster for him to take up that option. Because more than likely, he could have gone to the Cowboys right now as a hooker, halfback, just to get a first grade spot. But no, he's worried about being a halfback. He's developing his game as a halfback. And this will do him better in the long run in general anyway. Get him early money, big money later on. So shout out to him.
Shout out, guys. Yeah, I think it's everyone's got to take care of their own. Obviously, you know, you take the extension, and if an opportunity comes, the Warriors have been pretty good to let guys go. You know, and if it happens, it happens. But before we wrap up, just a big shout out to Southside, man. I know you're about to leave Southside, but thanks, man. We do really appreciate that, bro. And as a channel member as well, yeah, you know, you don't have to, but we love the support that we're having. It's fantastic. And for Radiant too, that $2.99 is massive, guys. We appreciate that. And we love all of, you know, everyone that contributes and supports us here at Wise Up TV. Just quickly, guys, yeah, for all channel members, we do have a Discord server. So the way you can join if you would like to is through your channel membership. You should be able to find it through Discord. And if you use your YouTube email, you can join us there on our Discord server. So welcome to that as well. Okay. Ash, anything else before we wrap up, man? Yeah. How's things going in your neck of woods? You're busy, man. And you got a lot on the weekend. You always got birthday parties, kids events. You're a family, man. Your wife must have a massive family.
Oh, bro, being married to a Samoan girl, bro, you know what it's like, you know what I mean? You got the family's family and that, but I love the family so much. I love my family as well, and they're doing good things. Obviously, not able to make it for a watch-along this weekend. My missus' little brother has started playing footy again, and if guys know me personally, you know how highly I regard this kid. Like, he's been for a little bit of a longer trip, but he was in the dog system growing up, and he was chased by a lot of clubs. He was going to be, for sure, I believe, first grade. Like, he was unbelievable coming through the system. He played with Corey Horsburgh at Redcliffe. They're all known from that system, right? So he's to return back to footy after a little bit of hiatus. He played a little bit last year for Burpengary. Now he's gone down to Caboolture. Hopefully he's playing this weekend. Hopefully he is all good. He had a decent hit out last weekend against the Caloundra Sharks. But yeah, shout out to Rendon. You know, he's doing amazing things. And shout out to my missus' little sisters and stuff getting back into footy and their guns as well, bro. Like the talent in that family is just... It is so crazy, and I love going out there and supporting them. And if I can give them any tips out there or anything I can share, I will do so. But I do apologize, guys, a lot of time in that. But
no, man.
yeah,
Absolutely.
I love all you guys.
You learn how to do
the
Samoan dancing or the
Siva? Oh, bro, I had to do one in Samoa for a wedding, bro. It was like, oh, bro, I was just like yelling "Chehu" and all that. I was like, oh, bro.
You're the Siva actually, man, with your shirt off and you got your necklaces.
Hey guys, if you want to check me out on Instagram, there's a couple of photos of my wedding on Instagram and all that. But no, shout out to the family though. But as you guys know, I'm very proud of my missus' family. I'm very proud of my family, and I'm proud of where I come from. So yeah.
Nah, man, that's beautiful, bro. Yeah, and enjoy the weekend, man. Yeah, we're gonna watch along. I know Baldo said we might be doing something, but I think at this point I'm gonna talk to him, and I've got something on as well. So. We'll see. We might save that for another one, but definitely up the Blues. Nah, man. Save that. Hey, you never know. You just never know with those Queenslanders, mate. You never know,
mate. Queensland spirit, baby.
It always do. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for everyone that's hung around. Great to have you. All of our channel members and moderators. We know you know who you are. We'll catch you guys on the flip. And take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. Up the waz as always.
Up the waz.
See you later after Saturday, and maybe have some content on Saturday afterwards. We'll see how we go. Okay, peace.
Peace.